Imagine standing in one place and appearing somewhere else. Instantly. No footsteps, no travel, just a sudden shift from one reality to another. It sounds impossible, the stuff of legends, yet for centuries, spiritual traditions have described exactly this. In 16th century Spain, a humble Franciscan nun named Sister Maria de Jesus de Agreda claimed to have appeared thousands of miles away, in the heart of the New World. Without ever leaving her convent, she described, in vivid detail, the landscapes and people of what is now Texas and New Mexico. Witnesses among the indigenous Jumano tribe later confirmed that a lady in blue had visited them, teaching them spiritual wisdom. A case of religious myth, or was something deeper at play? Across cultures, similar accounts emerge. Tibetan monks who vanished from mountaintops, Sufi mystics performing tayal art, the folding of the earth, and Hindu yogis who seemed to dissolve into thin air, only to reappear elsewhere. These were dismissed as miracles, allegories, or outright fiction. But what if the impossible has simply been waiting for science to catch up? Quantum teleportation is no longer theory. It's happening in labs right now. Scientists have successfully transferred quantum information across vast distances, defying our classical understanding of space and time. No physical object moves, yet the information does. And with each breakthrough, the lines between ancient wisdom and modern physics blur even further. Could these mystical teleportation stories hold secrets that science is only now beginning to understand? And more importantly, if teleportation is possible, not just for quantum particles, but for something greater, what does that mean for the nature of reality itself? What we're about to uncover might change the way you see the world forever. If you enjoy exploring questions like these, make sure to subscribe and keep an open mind. We're not here to provide definitive answers, but to spark curiosity, ask the big questions, and let you contemplate the possibilities. Accounts of instantaneous travel appear in spiritual traditions across the world, described with a certainty that defies mere legend. In the Islamic mystic tradition, tayal art, the folding of the earth, speaks of saints and scholars who could traverse vast distances in an instant. The 13th century Persian poet Rumi referenced this ability in his writings, hinting at a state of existence where the limitations of space simply cease to apply. In Christianity, stories of bilocation, being in two places at once, persist across centuries. One of the most striking cases involves Saint Padre Pio, a 20th century Italian monk. Witnesses claimed to see him in multiple locations at the same time, often appearing to those in distress. Reports like these weren't isolated. Saint Alphonsus Liguori, centuries earlier, was seen preaching in one town while simultaneously attending the bedside of a dying pope miles away. Traveling further east, Hindu and Buddhist traditions contain similar descriptions. The city's extraordinary abilities developed through deep spiritual practice include forms of teleportation. The 8th century sage Padmasambhava was said to have crossed great distances instantly, appearing in multiple regions of Tibet as he spread Buddhist teachings. In yogic philosophy, this ability isn't regarded as supernatural, but as an advanced mastery of consciousness itself. These stories, spanning different times and places, share a common pattern. They aren't merely about people moving from one place to another. They suggest an understanding of reality where distance itself becomes irrelevant. What sets them apart from typical myths is the consistency with which they are recorded, often in historical or religious texts with multiple independent witnesses. For centuries, the dominant view of the world left no room for such phenomena. Western science, built on the principles of Newtonian mechanics, demanded physical movement for travel. The idea that space could be bypassed entirely seemed impossible. Yet today's breakthroughs in quantum physics have reintroduced this very concept, not through ancient manuscripts, but through rigorous experiments. Rather than dismissing these accounts as fantasy, some researchers now look at them through a different lens. Were these stories poetic exaggerations, or did they describe something real? Something we are only beginning to understand. Science has always advanced by questioning assumptions, and as we uncover more about the nature of reality, these ancient accounts suddenly seem less like myth and more like an invitation to look deeper. For centuries, teleportation was confined to folklore and spiritual traditions. Today, it has stepped into the realm of experimental physics. Quantum teleportation is no longer a hypothetical concept. It is a repeatable, measurable process that challenges the conventional understanding of space, time, and information itself. At its core, quantum teleportation does not involve matter disappearing and reappearing elsewhere. Instead, it allows information, the fundamental building block of reality, to be transferred instantly between particles, regardless of distance. This is achieved through quantum entanglement, a phenomenon where two or more particles become so deeply connected that a change in one is immediately reflected in the other, no matter how far apart they are. The implications are staggering. In a landmark experiment, researchers at the University of Science and Technology of China successfully teleported quantum states between the ground and a satellite orbiting over 1,400 kilometers away. More recently, a team at Oxford demonstrated quantum teleportation between two separate quantum processors, bringing practical applications closer than ever. Northwestern University has also made strides in achieving high-fidelity teleportation using standard fiber optic networks, showing that this phenomenon isn't limited to isolated lab conditions. This isn't theoretical speculation. It is happening in controlled environments with increasing precision. These breakthroughs suggest that the classical view of space as an absolute, unchangeable entity is incomplete. The instant transfer of quantum information hints at a deeper structure underlying reality, one where separation is an illusion created by our limited perception. While the current scope of teleportation is restricted to quantum states, the broader implications cannot be ignored. If the universe is fundamentally built on information rather than matter, then physical distance may not be as rigid as it seems. This aligns eerily with ancient descriptions of teleportation, where movement was not bound by conventional travel, but by an altered relationship with reality itself. The progress made so far is only the beginning. As techniques improve, scientists are inching closer to unlocking the full potential of quantum mechanics, bringing once dismissed ideas into serious consideration. What was once regarded as mystical is now being probed with equations and experiments, yet the core question remains unchanged. Are we uncovering something new or rediscovering something long known? Teleportation is no longer just a concept found in ancient texts or science fiction. Quantum physics has turned it into a measurable process, yet the implications reach beyond technology. If space and distance can be bypassed at the quantum level, then the fundamental nature of reality itself is in question. Entanglement suggests that separation is an illusion. Two particles, no matter how far apart, remain connected in ways that defy classical understanding. Some physicists propose that space itself may emerge from this entanglement rather than being a fixed backdrop. If true, then what we perceive as distance, movement, and location may not be as absolute as they seem. Theoretical physics is beginning to entertain ideas that once belonged to philosophy. The ER=EPR conjecture, proposed by Juan Maldacena and Leonard Susskind, suggests that quantum entanglement may be linked to wormholes, bridges between different points in space-time. If entanglement underpins reality, then teleportation isn't just a scientific breakthrough. It could be a glimpse into the deeper structure of existence. Time, too, is under scrutiny. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics challenge the idea that past, present, and future flow in a single direction. Experiments with delayed choice quantum erasers suggest that actions taken in the present can seemingly influence outcomes in the past. If time itself behaves this way, then teleportation is not just about location. It's about the very sequence of events that define experience. Even consciousness is part of this discussion. Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff's OR theory proposes that the mind operates through quantum processes. If true, then perception itself could be influenced by the same principles that govern teleportation, raising the possibility that awareness is not confined to physical space at all. None of this confirms a singular answer. It does, however, suggest that the rigid structure of reality we assume to be fixed may be something far more fluid. The more we uncover, the more these findings resemble ideas that have been described for centuries, not in physics papers, but in spiritual traditions. Whether by mystical insight or scientific discovery, the message remains the same. The world is not as solid as it seems, at least at the level of information. The connection between these two worlds is more than coincidence. Whether through ancient wisdom or cutting-edge physics, the idea persists. Movement is not always bound by physical distance. Quantum teleportation has shattered long-held assumptions, proving that information can transfer instantaneously, bypassing space itself. This suggests that the very fabric of reality may be built on something deeper than the material world we perceive. If space and time are emergent rather than fundamental, then what else about existence is not as it seems? Ancient accounts and modern experiments now point toward the same mystery. If entanglement erases the concept of separation, could consciousness be subject to similar rules? Are our minds, like particles, more connected than we realize? And if teleportation of information is possible today, how far are we from something even greater? There are no definitive answers, only questions that demand deeper exploration. Science has reached a threshold where reality itself is being rewritten. What lies beyond may be stranger than we ever imagined. If this video left you questioning everything you thought you knew about reality, you're not alone. Subscribe and join us as we explore the hidden connections between science and the unknown. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think teleportation really means? Is it just physics, or is there something deeper at play? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. And before you go, there's more to uncover. The next video is waiting. Whether it's about the mysteries of consciousness or the nature of time, it's one you won't want to miss. Keep watching, and let's go even deeper.